News Radio 600 WMT.
On the WMT Morning Show, talking with Dan Sheffield. He's a professor from Canada who's here working with the LBA Foundation, Transitions Lab, University Prep School, and Transweb Global. They're doing work within the Cedar Rapids Community School District, not only here, but really halfway around the world over in India. And you're here from Canada, Professor Sheffield. First of all, welcome. Second of all, cultural competency is something that Americans, we're just starting to get a grasp of. We're sort of behind the times, aren't we?
Well, I don't want to make any particular judgments on Americans, but, in Canada, our nation was founded with sort of two languages and two cultures. And so sort of from the beginnings of our foundation, it was a negotiated arrangement around how can two cultures and two languages and ethnicities work together on a common piece of ground. So intercultural competence has been something that's in the back of the minds of Canadians for a long time.
And what's interesting about this, you think back to the history of America. The earliest Americans were Native Americans, and then the conquering of a continent, and you move forward with that. But it was the cultural melting pot. It's somehow along the way, so many Americans, so many different ethnic groups lost their original or lost their heritage or their cultural competency. And it seems it's almost like is that an American thing, or is this something that has happened in other places as well?
Well, I think, America, of course, is the destination for most immigrants from around the world for the last 300 or 400 years. And so it's a unique setting. There's no question about that. But this business of valuing the heritage that you come from and the values that you come from, say, as opposed to just giving up those values to fit in with everybody else. That's kind of what we're talking about there. And so intercultural competency is around saying, can we find ways to recognize the validity of each person's background and identity and still find ways to work together that don't lead to violence?
Okay, we're at Washington High School. Professor Dan Sheffield is here making a presentation to staff, not only from the school district, but also to staff that works with the LBA Foundation, Transweb Global, and the Transitions Lab, University Prep School. We're here in part for some training. I guess for me, one of the questions is, how important is it for us to be here at a high school, training the trainers or teaching the teachers, so to speak?
Well, this particular program is around essentially an exchange program of Indian students coming to participate and get a feeling for American school setting. And of course, the school here is interested in participating because they think this as an enrichment experience for the students here in Cedar Rapids as well. And so we all know that, in our growing up years, in our formative years, high school years, we're open to a lot of things that we might not be open to 10 years from now. And so the high school environment and the possibilities of a different way of doing things, high school students are quite open to that. And so it's a key space in people's lives that we think is important. So having teachers, having students understand some of the basics of how do you engage across cultures in such a sort of a clear differentiation like this between Indian students and American students.
And this really is part of what is going to define a 21st century economy, isn't it?
Well, it's the nature of the world that we're living in now is about everybody moving from everywhere, going to every place. And if a city, if a community is going to participate in that globalized economy, we've got to find ways to engage with who's coming and where people from our community are ending up in other parts of the world. So it's a key skill for the times that we live in. Yeah.
Professor Sheffield, thank you so much for joining us on the WMT Morning Show. Hope that you have safe travels.
Great, thank you. It's great to be here. First time in Cedar Rapids.
What was your first impression, by the way?
It's a little bit warmer than Toronto. It's nice and breezy. You got green grass out. We just have dead grass.
Well, you need to, if you get the opportunity, we need to make sure and plant you downtown, because I think that tomorrow is Crunchberry Day. and you can smell the Captain Crunch berries being made downtown. They harvest them from the crunchberry trees in Cedar Rapids.
Okay, that sounds like an interesting cultural event. I'll have to check that out.
Never wait for the information you need at the top and bottom of every hour. This is News Radio 600 WMT, Cedar Rapids.